What's going on, everyone? Vampyr Gaming here, and I am here with the GOAT, Dark Show TCG. You may know him from my comment section. Here with his first top, and he comes in at 7th place. So his first top, and he shows up with a top 8 with Gurple, Luffy, an absolute beast. How do you feel?
Ecstatic, bro. I just went X to win the Store Treasure Cup the night before. I came here today. I woke up. I was up since like 7 in the morning too. I woke up. I was like, bro, forget about yesterday. We made our mistakes yesterday. I just want to be happy if I play well today. And going 8-1, it really feels like I played well today. So I'm just happy that I was able to put up this performance.
Dude, I'm proud of you. Yeah, I mean, you did. Obviously, it's no small feat. A lot of people, it's really easy to, discredit yourself, right? But at the end of the day, yes, luck is the part of TCGs, but you have to play well to get there. At the end, you just can't be in that position by playing poorly unless you play yellow. Mm-hmm. You could just be lucky. You can literally just be the luckiest man in the room and you just win with yellow. But every other aspect, you have to know what you're doing. So you absolutely executed it amazing. Well, congrats. Let's go ahead and jump in and talk about this list.
Yeah, no problem. So I wanted to utilize one of the best features I feel about this deck, which is Dawn cheating and going wide. Being able to play maybe 2 or 3 bodies off this Luffy Taro in one turn is super strong. I know in the East they weren't really on that during the initial release of Green Purple Luffy. They more so adopted it in OP11 to combat Blue Purple. But I feel as if against Shanks, Lucci, Marco, some of the control decks, being able to go super wide and have this 8K body is super sticky. It just pays dividends in those matchups. And I don't think I would have felt as comfortable in my Shanks matchups today if I hadn't seen both of them and played them and they just stuck to the board and, it just kept swinging out.
Is a very good card against Shanks. I will say that. Yeah, no, it is. It does allow you it's so much because it's especially because you can play Sanji Pudding with it, which is just the craziest thing ever. Everybody originally talked about it in Purple Luffy, but it's Purple Luffy plays a lot of bricks, and it's just Sangro bar for bar is better. But playing the Luffy Taro into the Sanji and Pudding is just backbreaking.
Yep. The next card is 4 of the Sanji 2K. In a lot of purple decks, he's just a 2K. However, in this deck and maybe Reiju and RP Law, you can often play him for the 3 cost with the stipulation of being under 2 less Dawn than your opponent. In this deck, he came up every game. Sometimes I would play multiple of him in those games. Him being a 6-costed unit, he doesn't get tapped by a lot of the 5-cost or lower stuff. The 6K stat line is also pretty strong too. It's forcing a 2K in a lot of matchups. I just really love this card in this deck. I think it's it's genuinely just a mainstay staple. Super happy I played it.
Yeah, and then the cool part is, right, you can buff it as well. So things that could normally, it can't get hit with the Lin to tuck it into life or things like that. So it's super versatile in that aspect, but it's also, like you said, it's a swinger. Were you swinging with Sanji a lot, or when you're playing it, are you just leaving it up as a blocker for the late game, or?
Yeah, usually I'll play it for tempo, just to have the extra body, because in certain matchups, like you said earlier, it being a 6 cost and I'm also able to further buff it makes it crazy. I don't like swinging with it that much, just to answer your question, because at the end of the day, it still is a blocker. And blockers in this deck are very powerful because if your opponent doesn't have the removal for your other bodies, you can just tap your board sideways and then have the blockers to recover. So if your opponent wants to swing their 10-12 into your Luffy Taro or your Sanji Pudding, you just block with the Sanji or your other blockers in this deck. So that's why I don't really prefer swinging with them. I might, if I have another blocker on board or if I feel super safe behind multiple giants and a lot of counter. But normally I'm not really swinging with him that much unless it's end game scenario or stuff like that.
Cool. Makes sense.
Next card, I have 3 copies of the Rush Luffy.
Dang, he's rich. Look at this man. He was rich already.
Chill out. I pulled 2 of them naturally, and then I bought the 3rd one off of a friend who pulled one. So I was able to get homie pricing, good pricing. I still pretty much paid a lot for the deck because
it's expensive.
Yeah, bro, these are 80 now. So I'm super happy I was able to pull them. The card is super like self-explanatory. It helps you close out a lot of games and makes things a lot easier. I think I've only had like one spot today where I just played it and didn't swing with it because this card is two swings in itself. If your opponent can't remove this, it makes lethal so much easier. I actually prefer like just playing this and keeping it on board as opposed to like having to like do like a surprise lethal and spending the Dawn for it, especially if you don't have the Sanji puddings. I think in a lot of matchups, if you're able to like play this on curve, especially if you have like a second one in your hand, you know, it already got its value because it rushed out and it dealt the damage or it got the card, right? And then it's also can put your opponent in a sticky situation where, like I said earlier, where like if they don't remove it, you can just kind of like your opponent can just kind of die, you know. So super big threat in the deck. I don't run 4 because 4 is too bricky, and the deck is so consistent with 12 searchers that like if you wanted to see this card, you'll see the card. I saw it in every game today. I wish I seen more because like I played it early and it just died. So I wish I had the second one, but I was still able to close out those games.
Got it. Yeah, the big thing too is, right, like, you know, it gets instant value, but you can also, like, if your opponent doesn't play removal and you, like, don't want to turn it sideways because, like, you're low on card economy or, like, you're not 100% sure you can save it, you can just leave it there, and then, like, you have all of your Dawn to work with to go for lethal the next turn. So it presents you with, like, a lot of pressure and power in many scenarios. Like, not just playing it and then going for it in that same turn because you have Sanji and puddings and you're going to get 6 Dawn back, or because, you know, you're going to just play it and then the next turn you have like all of your Dawn to work with and you just double swing and take it from there. Like a lot of opportunity with this card. It is bar for bar. In this deck, it is the best rusher. Like if you look at all the rushers, this rusher with this deck is the best rusher in the game, in my opinion. I think Hody bar for bar is the best rusher, but like the best rusher in the game is this when it's specifically in this deck.
Yeah, I mean, if this deck could play Hody Jones, bro, like Loki, you would still just gotta play. Like you would play both, but
100%.
If this deck, I've thought about like teching Hody Jones. Just like, you know what, I'm kind of lazy. I don't want to deal with Giant. We just won't use leader ability this turn and we'll just like not deal with Giant. But I haven't tested it. I don't know. Maybe we'll see it in the future, but I agree. This card just does so much for the deck. It's literally a Reddit card. It's a custom card for the leader. Super happy with it and how it performed today.
Yep, absolutely.
Right. Next up, we have the deck's namesake. We got 4 copies of Spud. Sanji Pudding, SJP. Spud. People call it Spud. I tried calling it SJP, but it's just Spud, man. It's popularized Sanji Pudding. I don't know what else I could say about this card. Like you kind of want to see it. My advice with this card is like, don't bait yourself into keeping a hand with this card and no searchers, especially if you're going second, because you're not going to be able to draw on the first time you play this card. I'm pretty sure in any matchup you're not going to be able to draw unless you're in like a purple match and they've ramped. Don't bait yourself into keeping this card over like searchers and stuff like that, because you will find it eventually. I think I think my most recent game and my teach game, so my round 7 and my round 9, those are the only 2 games where like I was really looking for these cards and they didn't show up till like towards the end of the game. But when they come through, they come through. Obviously, one bad habit I had to steer away from playing this card was like playing it on my 5 Dawn or on my 6 Dawn with no 4-cost Zorajuro, no 3-cost. I don't play Frankie, so like I'm not doing that on 5 Dawn to stay on curve. I really like playing this card like on like my 6 or my 7 Dawn or my 6, 7, or 8 Dawn turn. Mainly 6, 7, just in like conjunction with like a Zorajuro or something else like that, or even just not playing this card and waiting till my 7 Dawn turn and playing it off of Luffy Taro, because now you have to deal with Luffy Taro and Sanji Pudding, because like most decks are gonna the same way with like Pluffy, like you had to deal with the Sangoro instead of the Taro and now you're eating an 8 all game. It's kind of the same concept, except like this is a 7k body, so it just doesn't get one card answered by a lot of decks. So I feel like without this card, the deck kind of just dies and doesn't work, but there's still times where you don't necessarily need it all the time. But I don't know, it's weird. Like when you play, you'll understand it, but
yeah.
yeah.
No, I get it. Yeah, because it is. I know some people have been supplementing with the blocker chopper to make ends meet for the Luffy Taro, so that way you can still do the Sanji pudding, and then you're at the same amount, and then you play that, and then you get the ramp one, and then you'll go back into your 7, is my understanding.
I think blocker. I think I tested the card. I didn't like it for a similar reason why as to why like I didn't like Frankie, is that they both kind of do more harm than good depending on the matchup, right? So if you're playing Chopper against like a control matchup and they don't have to swing into you to like remove your board, you can just like I can just like remove your board as the control player and leave your Chopper on the field, and you don't have access to leader ability, right?
That's true.
Like I was playing a Lucci game, my opponent put down the Chopper, and I'm like, okay, I'll just pass, play my Kuzan, and pass. And then they played Sanji Pudding. Okay, Hina Brook, pass. They played another Sanji Pudding, and then I just played another removal like Hina and swung my Brook, but that's 4K. Sure, the Chopper died, but for 2 turns, they missed out on leader ability and cheating units and Dawn. So that's just my personal opinion on Chopper.
No, I agree. As a Shanks player, that's like I agree with you because I'm just like I'll just leave it there. Then I'm like, oh, I'll just negate everything. Great,
Yeah. So yeah, if your opponent ignores the Chopper, then rest in peace, you. Next card, Zorojiro. The boys call it Elemental Hero Stratos for my Yu-Gi-Oh players because he can just search himself.
That's funny.
Infinitely. Amazing card in the deck. This card puts in so much work in the deck. Like keeping this is the card that you like keep in almost every mulligan, right? Just because he's like your gas and he's able to like further put you in your deck and find more pieces. So like almost any hand with like him and another searcher or like him in a stage is like a keep, right? So if you see like him, Sanji Pudding in a searcher, you're pretty much golden for like your early game, right? Like your first few turns are kind of mapped out, and then going first, I also really don't mind like swinging 6 and then like playing him, or just like playing him and then grabbing a a 1-cost stage and playing that. But they're way better targets than like stage, so I'd rather just like swing 6 and play him on 5 Dawn instead of doing like the Sanji Pudding,
Got it.
Nothing else more I can say about this card. Like, just remember that he only searches purple Straw Hats, so you can't get your green Nami and you can't get your green Rush Zoro. But yeah, I love the card. I think a lot of these cards, like, they're just staples. You just can't remove or lower the count on any of them, in my opinion. Like maybe the Luffy Taro, but everything else I've showed so far, you can't really like remove or lower the count of or replace.
Cool.
Okay. Next card. We got the 4-cost Rush Zoro. I'm only playing 3 of him. He's really good in like those control matchups like Shanks and Lucci. I didn't play any Lucci today. Marco as well. He's really good in some Marco as well. But I didn't see him in my round 6 against Reiju, where he would have been very helpful, because what my Reiju opponent did was that they would play their Porsche and play their baby, but they wouldn't use their baby immediately. So I'm like, oh man, if I play this Zoro, they have 2 bodies on board. I can tap the baby Ichiji, swing 5 into it, demand a 2K, or just, kill their 7K in its tracks. So I didn't see it in my Reiju game where like he would have been super helpful. Going second, sometimes you have to find that line to like not bait yourself into playing him over like 4-cost Zoro, right? Where it's like, how much value am I going to get from this Zoro? Because at the end of the day, he has a 5K body, which is very easy to trade into. And then I'm almost never going to give counter for him unless like I know that I can protect him and use him as like a swing on the following turn to like help push for lethal. But other than that, he really comes down like later in the game or early in the game, being able to like tap annoying like utility pieces that your opponent has. I will say one thing to pay attention to with this guy is that his rush effect is static, meaning that if at some point your opponent goes under 2 characters on board, he loses the rush. So just be mindful, be cognizant of that, because there might be sometimes where you want to swing into 2 units, but you like swing leader first, and then now the other unit lives because you turned off his rush. Moving forward, I think I want to put him at 4, just because not seeing him today where I wanted him really hurted. I don't know if that's English. It really hurts. I guess I don't know. It really hurts. Not seeing when I wanted them hurts, and the deck loves extra 1Ks, but because you're a 6K leader.
Cool. Yeah, no, big fan of that Zoro. I was playing 4 myself, so I was like, I get it. But a lot of people have gone 3. Like, it allows for more room, so I understand the 3 ratio. You also play possibly 12 searchers, so.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he's only able to be grabbed off of like 2 out of
because the purple, 3. The purple requirement. Yep. That got me one time. I was like, oh, I can't search this. I've been there.
You also can't play him off of Luffy Taro because Luffy Taro also only plays purple characters. On 8 Dawn though, you can do discard Sanji Pudding and play the Zoro by like using leader ability. Because you'll have 4 Dawn with the Sanji Pudding, so you can do that on 8 Dawn, which is very powerful, especially like tapping something and swinging something. Super powerful if you're able to get that set up. All right, next card, Usohachi. We don't have to talk too much about this card.
Yeah, the go.
Usohachi.
It's a 1 cost. That's the best part. Is it's a 1 cost because you got -2 and get 2 back. So it's really like.
I think I have to adjust my play style with this deck in a lot of matchups because very rarely would I like have enough Dawn to tap something with this guy. Especially like in the mirror match or in other matchups. It feels difficult managing my Dawn and actually going up to 8 and staying at 8 to be able to use the on play. So that's like my cross I have to bear and figure out like how to efficiently manage more Dawn so that this is like live more. But other than that, 2K searchable, taps a 5 if you ever get the chance to. Yeah, really, really good card.
I will say this, it is reasonably situational. It is more of like a game ender as well. So like when you're visioning like your final turns, it's like that in mind. When I was watching some of the Japan green purple formats, I noticed a lot of people first 2K that they pitched was Usohachi. So like it's not as prioritized or valuable as it is in like purple Luffy, but it is still an incredibly powerful card. Plus you also still have the Zoro, which is like very similar but less limited. So there's that.
Yeah, sometimes he also makes like math easier. But as you said earlier, like the first 2K that we usually pitch is Usohachi because Sanji is like live more often than Usohachi is. And yeah, it hurts pitching a Sanji for counter sometimes. Next is also that's all of the 2Ks I have in the deck. I'm only on 8 2Ks.
Okay,
by the
greedy.
way.
Got it.
So yeah, like, it's like Sakazuki, like Lucci sometimes, bro. Like because like we have the best card in the game, which I'll get to when we get to the events. So,
oh,
like,
we know the best card in the game, buddy.
We have the best card in the game, so we can afford it. 3 cost Zorojuro. The ramp Zorojuro. I'm gonna be honest, guys. The intent behind this card is to help your going first curve. So going first, you play this. If your opponent hits into you, you're able to go from 5 to 6 Dawn, and then you can like Sanji Pudding into a 4 cost Zorojuro and then search, and then now you have 3 units on board. If your opponent removes Sanji Pudding, hopefully you searched either a Luffy Taro or another Sanji Pudding so that now you're going to 7 Dawn next turn so that you can just play Luffy Taro Sanji Pudding again. And then you'll have your 4-6, a 7-8, and then a 5-7, and then maybe this 3-4. That's the intention. Never did it today because I won a majority of my dice rolls today and I went second. The games where I did lose my die rolls, I didn't see them. But one thing that this Zorojuro has taught me is that like he can give you like playing him at a random turn, he can just give you that one extra active Dawn to like do some sneaky things and some plays. Like today I had a line where I had like a Sanji Pudding on board and then this Zorojuro, and then he allowed me to play another Sanji Pudding, a 6 cost Sanji 2K, and then Gamma Knife my opponent Sanji Pudding, and swing at it with like my Nami or something. So like just that extra Dawn just got me so much value. Like so I don't know if I'm gonna cut it. People aren't liking it. I think cutting 3 costs. I think you're not wrong if you choose not to run any 3 costs in this deck. But I will say I will miss like the 1K counter from this guy because just having a card where it's just like I can just pitch it for 1K and not feel bad about it feels super good. So I don't want to take this card out and put in more bricks because I'll just die in more spots. But I also want to find something that's a little bit more useful and like that, that isn't just like fringe gimmicky Don plays, you know.
Sure. Let me ask
Also-
you this. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Also, another main reason is that he's in here is like before I like realized all this, I had two of these. I really like the art, and I bought two more. So
Dude, those are gas. I sold
Yeah.
mine, and it was the saddest thing ever. Truthfully, I love Zoro, and I love those arts. But with that in mind, right? Like, is it? I know you mentioned the art was a big driver, but Frankie is a similar card, and a lot of people like. Some people opt to play Frankie. Now, Frankie, of course, has requirements, but he also has the bonus of on play, so he can get it on play and then when attacking, and it's rested. But like Zoro, of course, you just play him and then he swings, you get an active. Did you try Frankie at all? Did you have any preference for the two, or were you just like Zoro's my man?
yeah, I tried Frankie, and like I was saying with Chopper, he does more harm than good, in my opinion, at least. Because if you like, one of the biggest advantages about this deck, and my Shanks opponent was like, bro, how do you like? Where does your advantage come from? How are you having like 10 cards, 12
Every
cards?
card
in hand?
replaces itself. That's what
Every
it is.
card replaces itself, and turning off your Frankie turns off your Sanji Pudding. Now that you are not less or equal to Don than your opponent in like regular matchups, your Sanji Puddings aren't drawing your cards. So like it's already bad enough that your first Sanji Pudding that you play doesn't draw you a card, unless you're going against like another ramp matchup. But now your second one won't draw you a card. You know. Yeah. And I think that's really strong, and I don't think Frankie warrants enough of a like it doesn't do anything for me to stay on curve when I prefer to be like 1 or 2 less Don than my opponent. And then it also turns off 6 cost Sanji, right? Because now I have to work harder to have less Don than my opponent so that I can make these higher tempo plays. And I get that you can also like pass like the on play. You can like choose to get the Don with Frankie, but at that point, if I'm choosing to get Don, why not just play Zoro? And then I'll have the Don being active as well, so I can make, you know, better lines. So I said all that to say this. It just feels like Frankie is too passive of a card. And I personally did not like it in my testing.
Got it. Cool.
Next card is, we'll just toss it off to the side. Let's skip the art. 2 of the Robin blockers. I had this at 3 when I was testing. We love Robin. This is a Robin stan deck profile. It is now about Robin. I'm gonna spend the next 20 minutes talking about Robin. But similar to Sanji, she's a 3-cost blocker, and Sanji putting like having 1 on the board, you just have 3 Don, right, with him. Adds to the strength of like being able to play this and then protect whatever you swung out with last turn. Stop like your opponent's big swings if they don't have removal. Plus it draws you a card, right?
Yeah, it replaces itself.
It's in line with the deck where like it draws a card. This is a really annoying card for a lot of decks to deal with. 3 cost is just that sweet spot of removal where it's like I have to commit like a lot of cost reduction. And then at that point, like the blocker blocked, right? And then I still get a card. The Don minus is super important too, especially in the mirror, because there are like this deck has a lot of Don thresholds in the mirror, right? If you have like this and a giant up and you're at like 7 Don, you block with this, you're at 6 Don, and then you can giant to put yourself down to underneath 5 Don, so your opponent's Rush Luffy is turned off, right? Or like you can just block with this and turn off your opponent's Sanji Pudding so they don't draw a card. So just
I see. That's actually, that makes sense. Yeah, in the mirror. Because what was it? I think it was Luffy TV. He was playing against a purple Luffy, and then because he was less, which usually Luffy can manipulate himself to be less, he had to pay 6 to play out the
the Sanji?
Yeah, and it was like, that feels terrible. He feels terrible at 6. Great at 3. But when you pay 6, it's like, that didn't feel good. So
Yeah.
I get it. That's actually crazy.
Yeah. Sanji doesn't feel that good. But like, so I'm not gonna lie, like if you have multiple Sanji Puddings on board, you get so much free Don anyway. Playing a Sanji Pudding on 6, like with 6 Don, you'll get 4 Don back, and you're just like, okay, that didn't feel too bad. And then it just feels good. Not feels good, but this deck is just unfair that you can do that.
Sure.
That's pretty much it about the Robin. In terms of ratios, I think like if I do lower Zoro Juros, I'll up a Robin, and then I'll up 4-cost Zoro. Like so that'll be like the slots. But I still kind of want to keep this card. Maybe it's like a 2 of in the future, and then I just go up to 4 on the green Zoro.
Sure.
But I don't know. Nami Searcher, 1 drop. She can search everything, every Straw Hat in the deck except Nami. I think today, or one thing, I have an opinion about like the Blackbeard matchup with this card. I think Blackbeard into green purple Luffy is an uphill battle for Blackbeard, but it's not unwinnable, and I mean that like you can honestly like get pilot gapped by a good Blackbeard. Like I almost lost to a Blackbeard today, and that like I just luck sacked them, right? I drew 3 giants from like each other. Like I chained giants from each other, and that just felt amazing for me, but like bad that it had to happen like that. But I noticed that like if I play this on 1 Dawn or if I play this early, I can never get it off the board, and then a good Blackbeard will not swing into it, will not remove it, because now it forces the opponent, like the green purple Luffy, to like always have to play into Liberation. So like this deck wants to go wide.
Got you. Yep.
This deck wants to go wide. So if I'm going wide, and then I like on my 6 Dawn turn I do Sanji Pudding into Zorojuro, my opponent can just lib my 2 bodies that I just played, and if I don't have adequate follow-up, I kind of just lose on the spot because of this Nami. So I think, honestly, it might be bait to play this Nami, like, early in the Blackbeard matchup, playing around the Liberation, because if Blackbeard, and then vice versa too, if Blackbeard plays, like, a Doc Q or a Lafitte or something like that, you can kind of be incentivized not to swing into it, because then you can force them to like put them in the same spot where like now they can't use lib because I'm only 1 character above them, So that little game of like chess is very important in the Blackbeard matchup, and like Blackbeard players can abuse this Nami. If they swing into this Nami, I love to see it. Like every time I've played against Blackbeard, this Nami would like swing 5 randomly, but they just would not kill it. So it's very interesting in that matchup. Other than that, she's a 1-cost searcher, great card. Helps you dig top 5 for pieces.
Got it.
We love Nami. Let's do events. Let's kind of speed run these events because these are like tech
2
choices.
Luna's crazy, but continue.
I know. When I first picked up the deck, I lived and died by 4 Luna. I was originally on 3 when I first tried it out, and then I was like, nah, bro, this card just wins so many matchups where it's like, bro, I play 4. The problem with playing 4 Luna and playing Luna in general is that it's a known quantity in the format. People will just play around it, right? I myself in the mirror play around Luna, right? Unless I'm in a position where I can like have 2 bodies active and I swing 3, and like I can set up a 2-turn with like a 6-cost rush in my hand, I'm not gonna willingly play into Luna, basically. So because it's around and people know it's around, they're less likely to play into it. Obviously, you can catch somebody lacking, and then in certain matchups, chaining Luna is like the only way you win, right? Lucci. Where like, because Lucci, yeah, exactly. Lucci's the matchup where like they have Kuzan on board, they have Brooks on board. You chain Lunas, and then the Lucci cannot remove anything because all their cost reduction shifted from events to bodies. That's the usefulness there, but thank God we dodged Lucci today. I do think I want to go up to 3 Luna. However, I don't want to cut a counter card because I've just died with these cards in hand, and that does not feel good. But maybe that's me as the pilot not grabbing enough giants.
Sure.
The trigger's also nutty.
Then 2 Gamma Knife. Were you just afraid of Bonnie?
Yeah. Gamma Knife, and then not even just Bonnie, but like Gamma Knife does so much work in a lot of matchups. -5k is an insanely strong power reduction, right? In the mirror, it allows your Nami Searcher to swing into your opponent's Sanji Puddings, right? I remember that line I talked about earlier where like I was able to have Zorojuro, a Sanji Pudding, and Gamma Knife into another Sanji Pudding. Like, I Gamma Knifed their Sanji Pudding, played a 6-cost Sanji, swung 2 into their Sanji Pudding, and they were just sick, bro.
Oh, I saw that. I literally witnessed that. Yeah.
It's also sick when it happens to you too, right? Because now your Sanji Pudding is a 2k. So like their Nami trades into it. But earlier today I gave counter for it to force another swing into it, just so that like they wouldn't threaten my life because I was low in counter. The trigger also merits a spot today. I high rolled that teach that I high rolled. He got high rolled the entire game because I had this trigger. I had one of these trigger in life to allow me to play. I think it allowed me to play Luffy Taro on curve, and they didn't.
Because
They
it
didn't,
ramps you one, right?
Yes, it ramps you one active. It wasn't even. No, it wasn't the second teach. It was my round 4 teach opponent. I hit this trigger in life, ramped to 5 Dawn because I went second. So I'm from 4 to 5, and then I was going to 7. They didn't turn off on plays. I played Luffy Taro Sanji Pudding, and then like they were just kind of stuck, and then I was just able to close out from there. The ramp trigger is insane. Sometimes you have to like choose not to take it depending on like the purple matchup because you want your Sanji Pudding to maybe draw you a card or something. But more often than not, being able to accelerate to that Luffy Taro is just more worth than like holding it. But knowing when and when to not trigger it is, I think, is a gem to learn because sometimes keeping it in hand for your opponent's board is important.
Sure. Cool.
All right. Last few cards. We're almost done here, guys. I'll stop yapping in a bit.
All right, that's Gum Gum Giant. I don't think we need to say anything
Actually,
about it. Ban Gum Gum. Let's go next. Ban
Speed
Gum
run.
Gum.
Yeah. If you see my round 7, I honestly wanted to tweet Ban Gum Gum because the line was so bad, bro. I had like 6 Dawn active. I was a 6K leader, and I just passed after playing a 4-drop. I had 1 giant in my hand. The teach swung like he swung 12 with Burgess. I was like, whatever it take. The life was a 2K. He looked at me. He saw I had 0 life. He put all 10 on teach, swung 22. I said I need a miracle, so I played giant. Pitched. I had a brick of Luffy Taro in my hand. Drew 2K giant. Played second giant, drew 2K giant. Played third giant, pitched a 2K, drew brick and a 1K. And then I countered out with 2 2Ks and a 1K for exactly 23K encounter. I was like, man, I'm so sorry. I'm so
This
sorry.
was teach?
This was teach, bro.
You don't got to be sorry.
He was sick. Nah, I need my teachers out here, bro. I need them to play into the Luffy's, bro. I love my teachers, bro.
Anyways,
I love you guys.
Yeah, cards busted. Cards nasty.
Yeah, best card in the game. There's nothing more to say about it. It's not getting banned. It's getting reprinted in the structure deck, so you guys gotta hold that.
I know. 5 months. 5 months.
Next card, Going Merry or Merry Go. Stage draws you a card. If you're less Dawn, gives +2 to your characters. I think this card is pretty much necessary in the deck. I want to flirt with the idea of playing 3 of it in the future.
Oh, you're crazy.
Listen, it's useless in the red matchup outside of it just drawing you a card and cycling. Like, the reason why the stage is so good is because it says draw you a card. If it didn't say draw you a card, it would be like end this lobby, right? Or you just like run 3 and then just like do other things. Because in certain matchups, being able to chain stages to like do increased cost reduction is like super good. I think I did that in my Pluffy match today, where like I had a stage, I was less Dawn, I tapped it, made my Sanji an 8 cost so that it doesn't get rested by 7 cost Sanji. Played another stage, drew a card, did my turn, played another Sanji blocker, and buffed that as well so that neither of them can be rested or whatever.
Yeah.
Chaining stages feels good into like cost-based matchups, but like the odds that you'll be able to consistently chain stages is not realistic. So don't formulate a game plan like, all right, I'm against Lucci, let me keep 2 stages in my hand so that I can stage on turn 4.
I've double staged and they still removed my thing. So
yeah, exactly. Like sometimes you just gotta like let it happen. I've also lost a game in my Story Treasure Cup yesterday because I forgot to do stage on my Luffy Taro, and my opponent played Carrot and froze that. So just remember, like, stage at the start of your turn or stage at the end of your turn. Dot your T's. Also, dot your I's, cross your T's. Remember to use stage. Last cards. 4 of the search event. So this is my last searcher, and then 1 0 cost. Search event is self-explanatory. It checks top 3 for Straw Hat, Kid Pirates, Heart Pirates. It can search everything in your deck except Luna, and it also searches Gamma Knife. I hit this off trigger multiple times today. Being able to like plus a search off of life feels amazing. I see some people run this card at 3. I'm like, this is like one of the few bricks where I'm like, nah, bro, we're running this at 4 all the time. I'd rather cut a copy of stage than cut a copy of this.
Yep.
Yeah, being able to plus off life, top 3 search, being able to search Gamma Knife, such a good card.
You can
I'm
also.
not dropping it. Mm-hmm.
At one point, I was playing Eustace Captain Kidd in my build as a spice. You can search Eustace Captain Kidd with that.
The 5-cost blocker or the 7?
No, the eight, the 8-drop Kid.
Kid. 8 drop Kid.
8-drop Kid.
Oh, Green Kid. Got you.
Yeah.
That one. Yeah. I seen lists with like Green Kid. I kind of get the idea behind it, like where you forgo your leader ability because he's an 8K.
Yeah.
But I don't know, bro. That's another brick in your deck, and
It's okay.
it turns off. If it sticks, it turns off your leader ability.
Yeah, that's but yeah, no, I was playing that. Cool. Well, let's go ahead. I know we've taken a lot of your time, so I guess biggest thing is like top of mind. What do you think is the toughest matchup for the deck?
It's Lucci. Any control deck, but just like it's Lucci.
Lucci. I don't think you need Lucci's pretty bad, like because they have so much minus now. And Uda.
Ugh. Oh yeah, can't even leader swing into it. And then that's pretty much it.
Yeah. And then what about your best matchup? Is it Teach? Like, are you just hoping you rather run a gauntlet of Teach or?
Yes, exactly. It's pretty much just Teach. I think Shanks is also pretty good. I personally am like a doomer about Shanks because it's my personal like grudge deck. Like I just do not like the deck or playing
Shanks is
against
actually
it.
really good into this deck if they see their pieces.
Okay.
You know, Shanks can be very inconsistent, and if Shanks if Shanks sees God Curve, you lose absolutely every time. But if they they have to very much fight for it. So when you mulligan, what are you looking for? Like obviously it's very like Sanji Porting, Zoro Searcher, Stage Searcher, just ways to get to Sanji Pudding, right? Like what do we really like?
It's just searchers. Seeing any of your searcher, like if you open your hand and you see 2 searchers, that's just enough, right? Some hands, you might like keep tech, like you'll be blessed if you get like one of your tech cards in a matchup, right? So if you have like a hand with any combination of like a searcher and a tech, you should probably just keep that hand, right?
Word. That
like
makes
the
sense.
worst hand.
I mean, it's very what you want. I mean, you play like 4 of everything. The deck is based around consistency, and it's based around seeing Sanji Pudding.
Yep.
Cool. And then so like whenever, because I saw a game and it didn't look like you had saw it. When you don't see Sanji Pudding, what is your overall game plan? And then when are you deciding to use leader ability?
Because I don't see Sanji Pudding, I'm not like using leader ability often, right? I'll use it in a spot where I can, gain advantage by being lower Dawn. So that's usually to like play out the 6-cost Sanji. I think that's pretty much it. If I'm lower Dawn if I'm without Sanji Pudding, that means I've gone like 3 turns without it, right? So on my 4th turn, I'm usually like I've saw in the Luffy Taro, so I'll just play Luffy Taro into Zoro, and that happened in my Shanks game today. I had double Luffy Taro, double Zoro, no Sanji Pudding, but I'm just like seeing both Luffy Taro is kind of enough, right? So because I'm already so high in Dawn, like this deck functionally plays on like 6 to 7 Dawn for a majority of the game, unless you have Sanji Pudding.
Sure.
And I don't think that's a problem.
Got it. Cool. Yeah, and then when are you searching for Luffy Taro? And what situations are you like grabbing it? And then what situations are you opting to not use leader to play Luffy?
I'm searching for Luffy Taro whenever I have my other pieces and my other follow-up situated, right? The way you want to prioritize searching in this deck is if your hand has X, then you search for Y, right? Like if you have 1 Zoro in your hand, but no Sanji Pudding, you got to search for Sanji Pudding, right? If you have a Zoro in your hand and a Sanji Pudding in your hand, then you search for Luffy Taro, right? Or depending on the matchup, if you have a Zoro in hand and a Sanji Pudding in hand, you search for a Rush Luffy, just so that you have it. And if you have Exodia, if you have all of like your main bodies or whatever, then you're just searching counter or giant.
Got it.
Yeah, you're just searching counter or giant. So like if you have Exodia, like I kept a hand today that had exactly this, and I think a stage. Because I'm like, this is Exodia. I'll find
that's
my
everything you
later.
want.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'll find my counter later, bro. I have literally all of the pieces I need to like play my game.
Cool.
So it's just like a spreadsheet. No, not a spreadsheet, like whatever, the route thing.
Got it. And then in the mirror, are you prioritizing going lower than your opponent to turn off their Sanji inputtings? Are you okay with just going higher and you just like play your game?
I just play my game. I think if you spend too much time trying to go lower, you'll just like neg yourself too much in Dawn. Like you'll just like disadvantage yourself more than it's worth. Examples of that is like trying to use Gum Gum Giant to like put yourself lower than your opponent's Rush Luffy, right?
That sounds terrible.
That's very. It's actually it's niche, right?
Yeah.
Because it comes up when it comes up and when it matters, it matters. But other times, like people like the more people play this deck and they play around it, they'll just like know that like okay, if my opponent's at 6 Dawn and they can turn off my Rush Luffy, then Rush Luffy's the first swing that I make with it, you know. So that even if you turn off the Rush, I'm not restanding it. I already got my value.
Right. I got
but
you.
like you said, it sounds terrible to like try and go underneath your opponent too much. Like if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, you know, just try and play well. I will say though, there are times where you should like think about a line in which you would not stand an active Dawn from Sanji Pudding. Like if you have multiple or something like that.
I saw you in a position where it was like, you know, I think it put you at the same, so like you couldn't play Sanji, or like it made you like one away, so you couldn't play Sanji if you needed it, and you had to do the math like if you didn't or not, things like that.
Yeah, exactly that. So sometimes it's just like you have to be very cognizant of the Dawn thresholds, in every purple matchup, right? Just be super aware of like what Dawn you're at, how much Dawn you're going to be at later, and then like one super important thing with this deck is like countering with Gum Gum Giant, because there are turns where I'm like I'm at 6 Dawn and I have a Rush Luffy in hand. If I counter with Gum Gum Giant, I'll be back at 6 again, and then I won't really be able to like swing tall with like the restand Luffy. So if I can counter in a way to avoid using Giant, I'll be happy.
Got it.
So thinking about that.
Cool. Yeah. And then, yeah, so that's about all I had. Huge congrats. Again, amazing accomplishment, bro. I'm super proud of you. I was like, first thing, I was like, got to get my boy on this video. So any shout outs?
Shout out Impact, Future Pro players. I recently got coaching from like, I joined the thing like 2 weeks ago, and I've just been grinding games, getting the sessions, talking to the guys. It felt great. Shout out Guildhall in South Florida. Those are my guys. We play test a lot. You know, they encourage me a lot. We go out to events together. Shout out my boys. Real Good Deal, Devastation Gaming, all of my local scenes, and everyone who like play tests with me. Really appreciative that everyone has like the time to like play with me, and you know, that's pretty much it. If I missed you in my shout out, I'm sorry. But you know, I love you all the same, bro. Just DM me, dog, and I'll shout you out on Twitter or something. But,
it's not that deep, but appreciate you. Everybody hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you all in the next one.